but I didn't know any of that backstory just now.
Oh yeah, sorry.
No, don't apologize.
Listen,
I just didn't know.
I'm a vessel of wealth.
Dear Lord.
So my question is this, and this is a question I had with another friend of mine, Chip Nicholson.
I love Chip.
Because he says he has an 8-minute joke, single joke that's 8 minutes long.
I wonder if I've heard it.
Right?
I know Chip's
and
stuff.
He's trying to work on it, but the only way he can work on it is at actual shows that are giving him 8 minutes.
Correct.
And I said, good luck with that, because that sounds hard.
So right. So the 10-minute set that you heard is all interlaced.
Yeah.
I can kind of screw around and take about a 1 minute and 30 chunk in the middle, but like, no, I can't do it. I can't do it in fives. And LA works in fives.
And threes.
Threes and fives.
Threes and fives. And the occasional seven.
Occasional seven.
Occasional seven.
By the way, before we keep going, I do want to talk about the tea that we're drinking today. For those that are steeping at home. So our steeple, they steep at home with us.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's dope.
Isn't it?
Steeple.
Yeah. But me and Kazeem are drinking Patagonia Super Berry. It is a reishi tea. It is an herbal tea.
Wait, the berry's called Super Berry?
It's super. So it's a mix of different berries. So acai is in here, blueberry.
I'm so dumb.
It's really high in antioxidants. It's really good. It's a much more subtle flavor. So for those that like something stronger flavored, you can mix it with something else. You can put a little honey in. But we steep it at 200 degrees Fahrenheit for 5 minutes. But you can honestly oversteep this if you want. It's totally fine.
Can I also say that I am one of the biggest Community fans?
Oh,
that show made me want to actually be a comedy writer.
So
like
for
a
those
TV writer, that show.
For those that are listening and not watching, I am using a Community mug. It's a Troy and Abed in the morning mug.
No, Troy and Abed in the morning.
Absolutely love it.
On cue.
It was perfect. You know what? I think we can just wrap the pod now.
We're done. Good night, everybody.
We nailed it. It is probably one of my favorite shows of all time.
Yes.
I didn't know that you also loved it. I'm shocked we've never talked about this.
I loved that show. 2 shows made me want to be a TV writer.
Oh my God, tell me now.
Community, because I loved it so much.
Yep.
And 30 Rock, because I hated it.
You hated 30 Rock?
What made me start writing? I never told you the story.
No.
I say it to people all the time, because one day I will meet Tina Fey and she will listen to.
I'm sure she's listening to this.
Multiple episodes of me shitting on her show.
Wow.
This is when I was like in college and I was watching like the Emmys. I watched the Emmys first and 30 Rock won. And I was like, what's 30 Rock? Whatever. I don't care.
Okay.
Right? And this was before. It was September, so it was before Obama got elected the first time. And then
that better have some sort of bearing on this story.
It has some sort of bearing because the next year, right, 30 Rock won the Golden Globe in January.
Okay.
And that was the speech that Tracy Morgan came up and accepted.
Love
right?
Tracy.
And it was like Tina Fey said that Barack Obama won. I could speak for the show from now on. Welcome to New America. Screw you, Kate Blanchett.
Oh, wow.
Right? So it was just, and I was like, oh, that's really fun. I like Tracy Morgan.
Tracy
so
Morgan's
I was
great.
like, okay, well, let me watch 30 Rock.
Mm-hmm.
I watched like 4 episodes.
Sure.
Hated every single episode. I never laughed once. I did not understand. I get it now looking back.
Sure.
That it just wasn't my style of comedy. But in the moment when you're young, you're like, well, this is stupid. Why does this keep winning? And then in my mind, I was like, I could do better than this. Right? And then that made me want to start researching comedy.
So you hadn't started writing comedy, and then you saw this and you go, I can do better. I'm going to do my own.
I always had the dream of like, one day I'll do stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
I hadn't started yet. I thought I was going to be a pharmacist / stand-up comedian.
You and Faji, like pharmacists and stand-ups.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Right? And then that didn't happen, and I was just at home sad. And then I was like, well, I can do better than this. Well, let me start researching. How do I write a script? What goes into a TV script? How do I read TV scripts, and then I just started like finding people's TV scripts. Like I found an Office episode. I found like different, like pilot scripts from different things.
Were you in LA at this point? Because
no,
I
was in Houston.
From Houston. Yeah.
I was 19. I was in Houston.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been writing scripts since I was 19.
I mean, like, I know this is maybe like not a great question to ask. Like, has anything happened for any of the scripts you've written? Have you sold anything? No. Gotten any meetings?
No. Because I wasn't all in.
Okay.
I didn't take the crap. I thought, I could just figure out on myself and write on myself and not actually learn the process.
Yeah.
Right? I thought script writing was like stand up. You just keep doing it and maybe you'll figure it out. No, not necessarily, because script writing, there is a structure.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to write. You have to learn what a story is.
Sure.
You have to learn how to structure a story. You have to learn how to structure an A story, a B story, how those can interweave. And all of that, someone needs to tell you that. You can't just write and then hand it to someone and be like, oh, this is so great.
You can. It's not going to go well.
Yeah, exactly. You can. It's not going to go well, but no one has time to tell you why your script is bad unless you pay for it.
Yeah.
Right. And even when you pay for it, they're just going to give you, this character isn't structured right. That's what they're going to say. This character, you need to dive deep into the character. Okay, well, how do I do that?
Yeah.
For that, you need to take a class.
So you came out here and you started saying, here's what's weird.
I didn't come out here and start stand-up. I started stand-up in Houston.
But did you start taking classes out here in script writing?
I've only taken one class in script writing. That was, it was during the pandemic.
Well, there wasn't a lot else to do.
There was nothing else to do. It was over Zoom. It was Brent Forrester. He was like the head writer of The Office for like the last 2 seasons.
Oh, wow. It is funny because you're one of the people in comedy who I feel like I know decently well. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I know you. I love you. I know your wife, like all this stuff, but I didn't know any of that backstory just now.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
No, don't apologize. Listen, I just didn't know.
I'm a vessel of wealth.
Dear Lord. I also love, by the way, so there's some people that we have on this podcast that just like, they're like, yeah, like I'm here, I'm into it, whatever. There are other people we have that will occasionally throw things right down the barrel of the camera, just be like, they'll be talking to me and then they'll be like, and I want you to know this. And and we've had a couple people do it, and I love it. I love people do it.
It's because I love The Office so much.
Yeah.
I'm always in tune with where the camera is.
I will tell you, the 2 people that have done it the most on this podcast are probably Simon Gibson, look down the barrel more than probably anyone we've had.
That's Simon.
That's Simon. And
Simon would do that.
And then
Simon
Morgan
would look down the barrel if there was no camera.
Correct. He does.
Yeah.
One of my favorite bits to do to Jess, it drives her absolutely crazy. Take this home if you want. It's a fun one. It'll drive your wife insane. I will say something to Jess and then look at a camera that isn't there and make a face. So like, we'll be talking and she'll say something and I'm like, yeah, sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
And like turn away
so funny.
and she'll be like, who are you making? Stop doing that.
Yeah,
she'll get so upset.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not doing anything. She's like, you're looking at an imaginary camera and making faces. And I'm like, honey, I would never do that. And then do it again. And I drive her insane.
Oh, that's funny. I'm gonna try that.
I think one of the reasons to be in a relationship is to just have someone you can drive crazy all day long.
Yeah, especially when you're in a relationship with a comic, and they're not a comic.
Yeah.
So they love you and support you and believe in you, but they still don't get it. So it's like that little kind of thing where it's like, I love you, but you're so weird at times that it's all the time. All the time I drive my wife insane.
We were in the car once and we were driving up to, her parents live in Northern California. So we were driving up to 5. It's like 5.5, 6 hours. We're driving up there and I don't know why. I can't explain to you why. I had this idea for a screenplay. Okay. I was telling her, we're just talking.
Also, no explanation is needed. That happens.
We're
that
talking.
Happens when you're a creative person. That will happen.
I go, you know what I would love to see in a movie? She goes, what? And I start talking, and maybe 30 seconds in, I go, actually, I'm sorry, can you write this down? Because like I really like this. And she goes, how did this just pop in your head? And it was a fully formed screenplay idea.
Yeah.
And start walking her through it as she's taking notes. And I was like, and once I'm done, I go, did you know what you were getting into when you started dating me? Did you know it was going to be this? Yeah. And she goes, I did not.
Yeah, no. There are so many times where it's just silent.
Yeah.
in the apartment, and I just bust out laughing. And then I have to explain to my wife that I just ran a joke in my head. And it
it's
was
good.
just so funny. And she's like, "Why are you laughing?" And I'm like, "Listen, I just
You're
ran
like,
it
it's
in
too
my
good.
head."
You would have loved it in
Yeah,
there.
exactly. And then, or sometimes when I'll just be like mumbling to myself, like
Yeah.
running the joke in my head out loud. And she's looking at me like, "Why are you talking to yourself?" I'm like, "Don't worry about it. I'm
It's the
a
joke.
comedic genius. I have to continue to speak out loud." All the time.
But here's interesting. So last time we were on, or maybe it was 2 times ago. I'm on shows with you probably somewhat more than the average person, but like, it was 1 or 2 times ago. Your wife was at the show, so it leads me to believe that she has seen enough stand up that she kind of could be able to say to you, like, if you ran a joke by her, be like, "Oh, it's not your best." Does she ever do that?
Yes and no. I will run a joke by her
Yeah.
to just get that first reaction.
Okay.
Right? But and you know it because you're a comic, so you'll understand what I'm saying. It really depends on how I feel about the joke.
Sure.
On whether or not I care about her reaction. Because if I really like the joke, you can laugh, you can not laugh. I'm still gonna go try
100%.
to figure out the joke. Right? But there are some jokes that I'm like, okay, well, let me run it by you because honestly, you're the one that sees me all the time. So a lot of times I'll do that. Right?
Yeah.
But also because sometimes my jokes are darker than the average. So
I think like your jokes are that dark. I don't know.
That's because you get the cleaned up version. She's getting the first thought.
She's getting
She's getting the darkness.
Interesting.
Right? And then I clean it up. I clean it up after the fact. Right? So I remember I have a joke about our friend Matt Price, who passed away.
Oh, I know this joke. Yeah.
Great guy. Right? And then I was talking to her about it because the joke worked. In the beginning, the joke worked, but it didn't really work the way I wanted it to work. Right? I got the giggles, but I wanted the laughs. But I got the giggles in the sense of, oh, why is he talking like this? Like that. But I wanted the laughs like, oh, this is really funny. You're paying tribute to your friend.
Yeah.
And then my wife was like, well, what would he want? And I looked and I was like, well, he would want to be alive. Like, that's not, because he passed away. And I just said it and I was like, maybe that was dark.
But that's funny.
She looked at me. She was like, she laughed, but I was like, that was really dark. Yeah.
Do you want to hear one of the darkest jokes? This is not something I do on stage, but one of the darkest jokes, and I accidentally told to a group of friends.
Yes.
But at my dad's memorial, I walk in. Okay, the only backstory you need for this is everyone's mingling outside.
Okay.
And my buddy, who was helping facilitate it, like said to me and my sister, he's like, "Hey, while everyone's mingling, like let's talk. I just want to make sure this goes the way you want it to." I was like, "No problem." We talked for no more than 30 seconds. When we turned back, everyone had gone in, sat down, and was silent. We didn't tell them to.
Yeah.
But it was weird.
Yeah.
So I walk in, everyone's silent, and as I'm walking in, I go, "God, you would think somebody died in here." and you know, everyone.
Oh, comics are so bad.
I know.
We are horrible people, but we're delightful horrible people.
But here's the thing: my dad would have thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, of course, because we still know how to read the room in the sense of what would the person that would be there would like.
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah. So I like the dark stuff.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, please interrupt.
Matt Price would love my joke.
I like that joke.
He would absolutely love how I talk about him specifically.
I think I saw you do that joke. I think we were on a show at West Side together, and I think I saw that joke. And it's great. It's a great joke.
Yeah.
I do think that like having people live on in a joke is a wonderful way to tribute to them.
Yeah, that's how we pay tribute to them. That's 100%. How we pay tribute to the people that affect our lives, good or bad.
I feel like there are people that don't understand that, but I feel like if you're dating, going back to what we were talking about earlier, if you're dating or married to a comedian, you do get it.
Yeah.
You get it fast.
A lot of times people are naturally funny. If you just hop on Twitter, if you hop on TikTok, normal people are naturally funny. But if you think about it, only we can think about it because we know how to think about it fast. right? But if you overthink, then the joke might not. You might lose the timing. You might lose because sometimes in the heat of the moment, the joke has to be right here. If it's even a 2-second delay, then it's not going to be funny.
Yeah, I mean you can write as many jokes as you want, and you can get really surgical with it. But sometimes you hit one out of the park, really organically, and you're like, you couldn't have written that down.
Yeah.
Well, this is a good time to take us to our first segment. Are you ready for the first segment?
I am ready. I have no idea what we're doing, but I forgot what you told me we were doing.
It's all good.
In the production meeting.
It's called the production meeting. It's called the Newly Friend Game. It's like the Newlywed Game, but we're friends. I'm going to ask you a question. You're going to write down your answer. You're not going to say it out loud.
Okay.
I'm going to write down what I think is your answer, and we're going to compare and see if we both got it right, and then we'll do the same thing for me. Does that work for you?
Cool.
So the question for you is going to be, so when we were talking earlier, I know that we talk about tons of things all the time, but the thing we talk about more than anything is comedy.
Yes.
So my question for you is going to be, and don't say it out loud, write it down.
Okay.
As a kid, who was the biggest influence on your comedy? Now, kid can be anywhere from 5 to 20 here, but as you were really discovering comedy, and don't say it out loud, write it down. Who was the biggest influence on you?
You're not gonna get this.
No chance?
There's literally no chance.
Wow, I'm gonna try.
I promise you, there's no chance. Because when I write it down, I'm gonna have to explain why.
Am I allowed to? And I don't usually ask for hints. All I'm gonna say is, do I even know this person?
Yes.
Okay.
No. It's a very famous comedian.
Okay, well, don't tell me that.
Yeah.
Don't tell me that. Okay, so you ready? Flip your board on 3.
Did you write down a comedian that's really good? My comedian, was he a stand-up? He was a stand-up.
Well, we already discovered I'm wrong.
Yeah. Oh, I know you're wrong. I just know
you're wrong. Flip it
on
on 3, 2, 1.
Boom. Ellen? No.
Yeah.
Mine was Robin Williams.
I wrote Ellen. You wrote Robin Williams.
I didn't know who Ellen was until deep into her show.
Ellen's an incredible stand-up.
Yeah. That's what I heard. I still haven't.
Robin Williams. I love Robin Williams. One of my favorite comics. Talk to me more about that.
That's all. When I was younger, we didn't have cable.
Okay.
And we didn't go to the movies a lot.
Yep.
But my dad had at least 300 different VHS tapes of movies. So I would watch Mrs. Doubtfire every other Saturday.
What a phenomenal movie.
Yeah, such a great movie. I would watch Mrs. Doubtfire and Hook every other Saturday, the time.
But here's what's interesting. I don't feel like his style is anything in your style.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying you wouldn't. As a child, though, all I liked was Robin Williams and Jim Carrey. And then as a teenager, I got into Martin Lawrence and My favorite comedians are not my style. A lot of my favorite comedians aren't Tony Roberts. Do you know who that is? He's a very slapstick, very high energy.
Yeah.
Comedian. One of my favorite comedians. I've watched all of his specials.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, of course, I like the Bill Burrs. I like the Chris Rocks. I've seen Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle live at the same time when they did their tour thing.
Wasn't that recent?
Yeah, that was recent.
Yeah.
That was last November.
Okay.
I saw Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle. I paid to go see that. Right?
Well,
it's I'd still like them, but as a child, what I enjoyed was Jim Carrey and because I would watch The Mask. I would watch Mrs. Doubtfire.
Sure.
I would watch Hook a lot as a child. I would just pop in the VHS tape and then just go on about my business while I'm watching it.
You would leave it on in the background while you were doing other things.
I would watch it and I would leave it on in the background at the same time.
Yeah, because you probably knew it so well at that point. You were
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know every song in The Mask. Yeah. I love The Mask.
Cuban Pete.
Cuban Pete was the greatest thing.
I think The Mask is one of the most forgotten movies when you're talking about the best comedies of all time.
Best comedies of all time, best comic book movies of all time. The Mask was a comic book.
I did not know that.
Yeah. It's actually a very rated R comic book.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
it's a DC comic.
I also believe that was one of Cameron Diaz's first big roles.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's crazy. Okay, so let's do mine. We'll do the same question for me, actually.
Same question.
So don't say it out loud. Write down your answer.
Do I know this comedian?
I need to think about who I'm going to write
as
first.
A child. We're talking about as a child, not as when you started comedy.
Yeah. I'll say
That'd be so fun if you accidentally said it. I'll say
Yeah, this is who my answer is. It'll be this person. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Is this person alive? Can I ask that question?
I mean, that's cheating.
That's cheating? Dang. All right.
Yeah. I'm going to say...
Is this person white? Can I ask that question?
I'm not going to give you any hints. Okay. You ready? So flip your board
Hold on.
Sorry. He's putting his marker down.
Boom. I have to be responsible.
Flip your board on 1, 2, 3.
Bam.
Boom.
I put Jerry Seinfeld first.
Okay.
You said that you weren't. You said that you didn't match.
I don't do anything like Jerry Seinfeld.
Shut the fuck up, Josh. You match him perfectly.
You really think so?
In the mannerisms.
So by the way, just for those listening, so I wrote Jerry Seinfeld, and then parentheses I wrote Chris Rock and SNL.
Dang.
And Kazeem wrote Rodney Dangerfield.
No, I wrote Seinfeld first, and then you said, I don't think my comedy matches.
I don't do observational humor at all.
Yes, you do. You do.
I do stuff about my life.
Exactly. But you do stuff about your life in the sense of a whole, like you're not saying this is what happened to me. You're saying this is me. This is how I feel about my universe.
But I also
it's
say
observational about your life.
Sure, I guess so. Sense? I guess that's true. I
put Seinfeld first.
Okay, all right.
And
listen,
then we'll give him
half a point.
Because if it's not Seinfeld, then I'm like, okay, I see some Rodney in you, like a little self-deprecating and stuff like that.
And you can put the board down. We don't need the board anymore.
Okay, we're done with the board.
But I'll say this. So I was, because I think you and I are around the same age. I grew up.
I'm 34.
I'm 36.
There we go.
Yeah. So I grew up
not
around.
You are 2 years.
Is that not around?
No.
You think those are wildly different?
Yes.
34 and 36?
Yeah. When you wake up, do your knees hurt a little bit?
My knees? No.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
Should they?
They should.
Really?
You're 36, bro.
Now I'm like, oh boy.
I'm sorry. I'm being a troll.
No, I don't mind it.
We're around the same. We're in our 30s. We're in our mid 30s.
I'll say this. My lower back gets tight when I wake up.
That's 36.
Yeah, man. I'm getting old.
That's 36.
All that as it is.
Mm-hmm.
What I was going to say, so I grew up around the time, as did you, around the time where you could hypothetically, though neither of us did this, illegally download music.
Yeah.
Yep.
I did that all the time.
Well, I was trying to cover for us.
No,
neither of us.
Who's going to?
No one cares.
If I get arrested for illegally downloading music, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. I haven't done it in probably 20 years. But one of the things that what I first did before you could really before it was arranged well, is I would try and download all the comedy I could find. And the first album that was fully available, like you could find all the tracks and download, was Jerry Seinfeld.
Okay.
So I was listening to he had a bit where he was talking about horses, where he's like, oat bag, I got my oat bag now. I'm sure you've heard that bit. He had a bit about Halloween.
I have not.
Oh.
I did not. I never got into Seinfeld until Comedians in Cars.
Oh, okay. So really late.
Yeah, really late. I was really late on the Seinfeld track. I will say that I did see some sets of his on late night stuff like that. So I always knew he was funny. I always knew he was that was the go. I've only seen one episode of Seinfeld in my life. Didn't like it. So
you don't like any of the traditional sitcoms because you and I both love Community, but that's not a traditional sitcom. It's
not a traditional sitcom whatsoever. Yeah.
The other bit that I downloaded that I've listened to probably more than any other comedy ever, is N-Words versus Black People. The Chris Rock bit. I listened to that more than any other comedy bit ever. Obviously couldn't repeat most of it.
Yeah.
But
guys, at school.
Yeah,
guys,
listen to this.
You know there's this guy named Chris Rock.
Yeah.
You're what's the joke? I can't tell you, but you have to go listen to it. Just trust me.
Well, I would listen to this all the time. And it just, my comedy is nothing like that. But what it showed me was he would say something that on the face of it seemed like, oh man, he's going to just offend everybody.
Yeah.
And then it was punchline after punchline after punchline. It was nonstop. That bit goes harder than almost any other bit. And just I'm not going to let up. I'm going to keep hitting you with laugh lines repeatedly.
Yeah.
And after I heard that, I was like, man, I want to do this.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this is good. And I got to tell you, I have never written anything that I think has that punchline frequency that he does. And I know that one day I think I can be good enough to do something close, but never that good.
I feel like one day I can be, that close.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'd want to be, if that makes sense. I don't think I would care to be, only because my style doesn't reflect the boom, 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 boom.
Neither does mine.
Where it's like my premises are usually slow.
Yep.
Then I'll hit you with like 4 jokes, and then I'll continue my premise, and then I'll hit you with 4 more jokes, and then I'll continue my premise. Not 4, but like, you know what I mean? Like I'll do pop, 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 slide, pop, 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 slide,
now
pop, slide, move
pop,
on.
Pop, pop.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah, Community.
Yeah, you want
pop,
back to Community.
pop. Yeah.
The other interesting thing that I want to touch on with you is that, like, you and I are very similar in the sense that there are a lot of comedians, I feel like, that look down on comedians that have day jobs. I don't know if you've ever felt this way, but I get a lot of crap when someone's like, "Oh, you don't do comedy full time?" Like they're like, "Oh, you work in corporate America." I'm like, "Yeah, because comedy is hard to make a living in, and you need to really work it." Do you have trouble balancing everything? You're also now married, so you're balancing that too.
Yeah, balancing that too. Do I have trouble balancing? Yes and no.
Okay.
Right? Where there's never going to be a balance.
Tell me more about that.
To an extent. Because if I'm doing comedy, then social life is down, work is down, marriage is down, but everyone should be on the same page.
So, right? In everyone should know that where your priorities are, or everyone should be even?
Well, the priorities are equal to an extent.
Okay.
Where, you know, like yesterday, me and my wife went out to dinner.
Lovely.
Right after that dinner, I had a cold open at the Hollywood Improv.
All right, big dog.
So she wanted to go to Humble Brag. So she wanted to go to cold open, just so people know, cold open is 5 minutes unpaid before the show even starts. But it is very hard to get.
And a lot of people are like, well, no one's listening. It's like, cool, but if you can make them listen.
But if you can make them listen, that's a flex, and that's a little feather in your cap. So that's cool, right? So she wanted to go out to dinner. I said, okay, our dinner has to be at 5:30.
Can I say something? I love 5:30 dinner. I don't even care.
5:30 dinners are fine.
Great.
But no, like when the sun is out, it's like you're eating dinner when the sun is out.
I want to be wrapped by 7. Right? That's my dream.
I'm perfectly fine with that too. But she doesn't like that necessarily. She likes a little more later, like around 7. And that's cool.
Too late.
But I still had to be like, listen, I have this, so we can do this. Right? And she's like, okay, I understand. But, you know, we'll still go to a movie night when I have no spots that week. Right? Or it's like, okay, I know you want to like make dinner. Cool. We can eat dinner. I can have dinner with you for like an hour, but then right when it hits an hour, I got to go read the script I said I was going to read. Everyone is on the same page but for my job, because I'm a contractor, because I can make my own schedule, I just block out my calendar, right? And I just say I'm not available. But to your first original point that you made, have I gotten crap for having a job? Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Isn't that weird
right?
though?
But
I still think that's so weird.
But it's never from, I'm not trying to sound mean because maybe they'll think I'm talking about them. It's never from comics that I think their career is something I want. If that makes sense.
It does.
Right? Every comic that's successful, I say I have a job, they're not knocking on the job. I've had comics make sure that I understand what my goals are.
Yeah.
Right? I remember when I'll use Ali Siddiq as an example.
Sure. Well,
right?
he's
doing
great.
When I moved here, I told no one in Houston. I just left. And I got a job out here. My first job, I was living in Valley Village, like North Hollywood, working in Redondo Beach.
No.
So I would drive an hour and a half.
Absolutely not.
Right? And it was every day. That was when I had to be in the office every day.
Sure.
And I would still try to hit open mics, but you get off at 5. It's an hour and a half. I'm tired. The most I could do was maybe get to Flappers in Burbank at 8.
And at that point, just stay home.
And at that point, sometimes I would do that. I would just be too tired. I would just be like, I'm going to take a shower. I'm just going to go to bed.
Yeah.
I'm too tired today. And then he just randomly called me. I was 7. I was in the office still. I was 7. It was 7. I was in the office still, and he just randomly comes like, "Yay, you're in LA?" And I was like, "Yeah, I was just working." Like, "What are you doing right now?" And I was like, "I'm at work." I'm like, "You got a job?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, "But you're working." And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "What time is it?" And I'm like, 7. And he's like, "You're a bum then." Cause in the sense it's like did you go out there to get a job or did you go out there to do comedy? And I was like, "Oh, okay, I get it." Right? In his perspective, it's like, yes, have a job, but still understand why I didn't move out to LA to do IT.
Right.
Right? So I had to finesse my way to work remote. And that's what happened.
Interesting.
I still kept the job. Right? He didn't say quit your job. He said, "You're working till 7 and you're not hitting any mics. What progress are you making?" Especially in the first 2 months I was there.
Yeah.
Right? You at least have to go and let people know your name at the very least and shake a hand or two. Right? And I wasn't doing any of that.
I mean, listen, people still mispronounce your last name
all the time, and that's fine. It's understandable.
You gotta make sure they know your name. Hey, are you ready for the lightning round?
Yes.
The lightning round, it is 5 questions, fast questions, but they do not at all have to be fast answers.
Yeah.
So take your time. I once had a guest who really was intent on answering quickly. That's not what they're about.
Okay.
There's the same 5 questions we ask at the end of every episode.
Okay, cool. We're at the end?
We're at the end.
Oh, no.
I know. To sound at least genuine about how sad
it was like, oh no, as in like, oh, I had a good time.
Yeah, no, we love you.
Yeah.
This is why I wanted to have you on.
I will say my facial expression and the oh no did not match. Yeah, but that's not the point.
And for the listeners at home, I was telling you this earlier. The reason I wanted to have you on is because I always enjoy our conversations.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to hate ending this. I knew that.
Yeah.
But we're going to have you on again.
Ending it too.
We'll have you on again.
Boom.
But here we go. Here's the lightning round. Your first question is, what is a favorite ritual of yours? So mine is brewing tea. What is a favorite ritual that you have?
I enjoy a fresh donut.
It's great.
I enjoy a nice fresh baked something.
Lovely.
Yeah, that's a ritual I'll do where it's like, I want a donut right now. Well, I enjoy the ritual I'll do is whenever I want something, I will just go do it.
I mean, if only we all did that. If that
makes sense. Where it's sometimes it's 3:00 in the afternoon, and I'm like, no one's home. I want to go get a Krispy Kreme donut, and I will drive to go get a Krispy Kreme donut. So
Krispy Kreme is your choice.
No, it's not my choice, but I know that they make the donut. I know they'll make the donut fresh.
Oh, I respect that.
Yeah.
All right, question 2. What is a running bit you have with a friend or partner that makes you laugh?
This is so stupid.
Hope so.
It's with my wife. I will, whenever she's because sometimes, women will just be get emotional and get oh, I'm so grateful for you. And,
I do that more to Jess, but yeah.
We only have one car right now.
Same with us, yeah.
she has this thing on her work purse where you could just hook up the keys.
Yeah.
And I just switch. And if I know she's taking the car, because I usually stay up later to work on random stuff, and I'll just go switch the keys, blah blah blah, and then sometimes she's like, "Where are your keys?" And I'm like, "They're already in your purse. You're good."
Yeah.
And she's one day she was like, "Oh, I'm so grateful. Thank you for doing that." And I'm like, weak ass. And it's just soft. She's like, "You need to man up." And that's our sometimes we'll do that to each other.
Do you now do that to each other?
You soft dog. In a joking, loving way. That's our running bit. I don't do it in front of other people.
Sure.
But it's just between us. I'm like, you soft, dog. Stop being weak. What you doing out here?
I actually kind of love that. And I'm going to do that to Jess. I hope you know.
It's every time she's like, "Oh, thank you." And I'm weak ass.
Soft. You soft. Question 3. Can you do an impression of one or both of your parents? And the worse the impression, the better. We don't want good ones here.
No, actually, I can't.
You can't.
I can't do it on a whim. I can do it in the moment.
Oh.
Does that make sense?
Sure.
Where it's I can't do a Nigerian impression if you ask me to. If we're having a conversation and it just comes and we're just joking around and I just do it, then I can do it. But if I have to think about it, I actually can't do.
You get 2 in your head.
Yeah, I get 2 in my head and I can't do it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is there, without the accent, is there something that one of your parents says a lot or does a lot?
My dad, my dad. Okay, so in Islam, God is called Allah,
Okay.
right? And a lot of times when he's like trying to give us all advice, he'll be like, basically he's like, and God will lead the way for us. God will provide.
Sure.
And he's always like, Allah will make it easy, right? That's basically like
Sure.
Allah will provide for us. And then so sometimes when he's trying to give me advice and I'm like, I'm not doing that. And he's like, well, but you should do, like, he tried to, like, what was he trying to advise me on? Like, he was trying to get me to buy a new car. And I was like, I'll just fix the car I have now.
Smart.
Because basically his thought is, because I told him about how my car was like not starting. It was like stuttering before it starts.
It wasn't
and
turning
like,
over.
well, the car is like 15 years old. Maybe you should like think about buying a new car. And he's like, no, I'll just fix the new one. I'll just fix this one. He's like, no, but like, your wife, like, you don't want her stranded on the road. And I was like, Allah will make it easy.
Oh.
He didn't like that joke.
Yeah, I think it's funny.
Yeah, no, it's fun. It's fun. Like, he says that all the time.
Question 4. Have you ever experienced imposter syndrome? And if so, is there a moment
All
that
the
sticks
time.
with you? Really?
All the time.
You don't strike me as that.
All the time.
Can you give me an example?
Every day. Every day I wake up and I'm like, Every time I struggle on stage, I'm like, oh, maybe I'm not as good as I think I am.
Oh.
All the time I write a joke and I'm like, oh, this might be the last joke I'm ever gonna. I don't know why I think that. I'm like, well, this is the last good joke I'm ever gonna write. Right? Because a lot of times I'll write a joke and then it'll be like a month before I write a new joke.
Yep. I don't think I've written a great joke in a little while.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I get imposter syndrome. The reason why I don't look like I get imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Because I get the feeling and then I will just keep moving. A lot of times people will get the feeling and sit in the feeling.
Mm.
And I try to just keep moving.
I mean, that's the way one should do.
I try.
I respect that.
Right? Sometimes I sit in the feeling. Sometimes I'm human.
I live in the feeling.
But yeah.
I mainline the feeling.
I was born in the dark.
Yeah.
Raised
you
by
think imposter syndrome is your friend? I was born in it.
Yeah, no, I get imposter syndrome all the time.
Yeah.
A lot of times, even I did this thing. There's a brand called Don't Tell, comedy, and I did one in Orange County.
Sure.
And I just, for some reason, I had like a mild panic attack in the middle of my set, and I was doing well.
Yeah.
That's the thing. But for some reason in the middle, I just couldn't like catch my breath, and I just still pushed through. I still finished the set.
Could anyone tell?
Exactly. That's happened to me before, and I tell someone, and they're like, couldn't even tell.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but how could you not tell? Because I could tell.
You were like, I felt it.
Because I'm pausing more, right? And I'm like trying to like catch my breath. I'm trying to like, manage my breathing.
Yeah.
But they just like, you couldn't tell. And till this day, I don't know why sometimes I'll get panic attacks on like the dumbest shows.
It's probably because I'm not there.
Yeah.
If I were there, you'd be like,
if Josh was here,
I feel
right. You got to
great.
text me before my sets.
Yeah, I will.
Then
Tell me when you have a set.
Yeah, I will.
Listen, I have 3 shows this week. I'll text you before everyone and be like, help me out.
There we
go. Question 5, final question. What is your favorite tea or comfort?
Honestly, Taco Bell.
I respect. That's a great answer. Great answer. But I have to ask, the major follow-up here is, what's your Taco Bell order?
I've had everything.
You don't have a standard order?
I don't have a standard order.
You are insane.
I've literally had every single item on that Taco Bell menu. Everything.
Do you have a menu item you go to more regularly than others?
No.
Crazy.
I order everything. That's the thing. I don't know what I'm going to order until I get there and I look at the menu.
You're nuts.
Sometimes I'll get a Crunchwrap Supreme. Sometimes I'll get a Mexican pizza. Sometimes I'll get nacho fries. Sometimes I'll just get 2 soft tacos. Yeah. I've ordered everything. Taco Supreme, right? Cheesy bean and rice burrito. I get it grilled sometimes.
I will say something that's going to offend the masses. I don't even care. I never had the old Mexican pizza, but the one that they brought back, whatever it is,
it's not as good.
It's not that good.
It's not as good.
I've never had the old one.
Well, and I'll offend the masses even more. Mexican pizza was never that good.
So what?
I don't know. People just got offended. What they need to bring back is the empanada. They had this caramel apple empanada, that was deep fried, and it was amazing. And Taco Bell needs to bring that back.
All right, Taco Bell. I'm looking right down the barrel. Taco Bell, you heard it first. Bring back the empanada.
Yeah, not just the empanada.
Sorry,
Don't
bring back
the caramel apple
apple empanada.
Listen, all right. You brought back the freaking Mexican pizza. You brought back nacho fries. Every single year you bring back nacho fries. And then they brought back like the enchilada with like an enchilada burrito. And I'm like, but what about the caramel apple empanada? You know what they still have? Cinnamon twists. Don't nobody eat those. No one eats those.
And that, if there were ever a note to end on, it's that. Kazeem, thank you for coming. How do you feel? You feel good?
I feel good. I'm going to finish this tea before I leave here.
Please do.
This tea was very good.
Kazeem, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
That was Kazeem Rahman. You can follow him at Kazeem Comedy on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. We'll be back next week, so until then, happy steeping.
Well, no, everyone else loved the joke.
Yeah.
But she didn't like it.
Sure.
And I was like, okay, well, I'll do one happy joke. It was a dark joke, by the way. I opened with a dark joke.
Of course it was.
Of course I did. No.
Right down the barrel. You love it.